to the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation, coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. Happy to see everybody here. It's a crazy time to be alive right now. Let us know where you're watching from. We haven't done that in a while. We used to do that. Now we haven't done it in a while. I see Jim from Florida watching us over on X. Let us know where you're watching from. Drop it in the chat. We'll throw that stuff up on the screen. Tensions rising in the Middle East. We're going to talk about that. Really, I'd like to think a lot of the times, a lot of the days there are issues where there are kind of multiple sides or, multiple explanations that I like to be decisively on the side of one, give my opinion and why I'm on that side, etc. I will tell you, and we'll go over this Middle East thing. The Middle East stuff is, with Iran specifically, is a tough one. And I'll get it off the bat just right off the bat real quick. I don't know what the best course of action is for the Middle East. And so, and we see the chat's going absolutely crazy. Florida. And so we'll talk about it today. We'll kind of go over both sides of it and what I think I'm going to do. Tom from Long Island is here. North Carolina in the house. Look at this. Look at this. Chat's going crazy. Oregon. Here we go. Conservative is getting very concerned about the Middle East, as am I. Barngino Army in the house. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. I mean, all the states have passed. About to go back up, but I saw a lot of that. Thank you for letting us know where you're watching. The chat is absolutely buzzing right now. Chat is absolutely buzzing. If you're watching on any other platform, wherever else we're on, Roku and X and all that, love you guys over there. Harder for me to show chats over on X and whatnot. So come join us on Rumble, the Cool Kids Table, rumble.com/LFA TV. And make sure you're following LFA TV there as well. We got some updates on the Los Angeles riots. Obviously, those are still going on, and they're spreading all around the country right now. There was this another mostly peaceful, fiery protest in Brooklyn where police cars were lit on fire. Not good. Not a good scene. And obviously, the No Kings protests are getting ready to erupt over the weekend. We hope those can stay peaceful and without incident. A lot happened yesterday. If you guys do follow me on X, did you see what look, and I'm going to get this out of the way because I don't know if there are people who support him or not in the chat and whatever. If you do, you do. I've been told this and I've been very, resistant and hesitant to even go down this road because a lot of the things that, Thomas Massey says are things that at face value I agree with. Cutting spending, shrinking the size of government. As you know, I have a very strong libertarian streak. But it's not the things that he says. It's really the way that he behaves that I think rubs people the wrong way. For those who are going to come at me and say he's not the enemy, I never declared him the enemy. I know other people hate him. Other people act like he's the worst person on earth. I'm not saying he's my favorite guy, but I never declared Thomas Massey the enemy. What he did yesterday is he decided that I was the enemy. Let me explain to you what this man-child did yesterday on X. I saw Jake Sherman. He got a scoop out of Washington, D.C. about a rule that was voted on that would allow the House of Representatives to vote on the first rescissions package. We went through what that was last week. The first rescissions package for Doge cuts, they would vote on that today, and that was a rule that was voted on yesterday. Apparently, in this rule also was included a couple of changes to the big, beautiful bill, which Thomas Massey already, was against. So I saw that Massey voted against this rule that would allow for a vote on the first rescissions package. So all I did, folks, and it I didn't accuse him. I didn't call him a name. I said, did Thomas Massey vote against a rule that would allow a Doge cut vote tomorrow? Am I reading this correctly? That is all I said. He came into my mentions and he said, well, my favorite, How much did you get paid to make this post? So here we go, okay? I didn't call him a name. I didn't say he was doing anything necessarily wrong. I asked a question. He comes in there, how much did you get paid to post this? Or something along those lines about, of course, every time you disagree with somebody on the internet, it's because you're paid, right? Every freaking time. I hate that. Thomas Massey, there's no way somebody can have a differing opinion. This is just unbelievable. So he comes in and he says, how much did you get paid to make this post? Massey does. Let me show you the screenshot of the post. Because that's not all he did. I was going to respond to him, of course, respectfully and say, I don't know why you thought that I got paid to do it. But there it is. But if you notice on the bottom, you see the grayed out reply, repost, share, and like options. Because as soon as he posted that, he blocked me, which is a violation of my First Amendment rights. I could sue him if I want to, not for damages or anything like that. But what he's doing is technically a violation of my First Amendment rights, constituent or non-constituent. Your official government accounts, which the gray checkmark on X and the affiliated red box next to it, which is the affiliation with the House Republicans, that is considered a public forum. And he is now shutting out an American citizen and voter from interacting with him in a public forum. That is a technical violation of my First Amendment rights. So Mr. Principled, who I never declared the enemy, I'm not thrilled with some of the things he did, Mr. Principled decided to trample on my First Amendment rights because I asked a question on social media to the people of Kentucky. This man needs to go. Not because he blocked me. Not because of how he thinks and because he's a libertarian. Folks, he needs to go because his skin is far too thin to be in this game. I would understand if I was harassing him. I would understand if I called him something derogatory. I would understand if I said this guy's an idiot and all this. I didn't do that. I asked a very, very simple question. And he responded with an accusation that I was paid to ask that question, and then blocked me before I could respond and finish the conversation. For those who want to see it, this is literally all I said. Right here. Massey just voted no on a rule allowing a vote on Doge rescissions. Am I reading this correctly? And he went off. There he is, right there in the replies. How much did you get paid to make this post? Yeah, of course. Because you can't have a different opinion than the esteemed Thomas Massey without being paid to do so. How highly do you have to think of yourself in order to think that anybody who opposes you is paid? I don't know what's wrong with this guy. I do feel bad about what happened with his wife. I don't want to be in his position in that regard. But Mr. Principled taking his boot and stepping on my First Amendment rights, and I'm not saying that to play victim, and trust me, I don't really care that I'm blocked. I'm not missing much. But to everyone who's like, well, you keep making Thomas Massey out to be the enemy. No, I asked a question, and then he blocked me over it. He made me the enemy. You should expect more from your elected politicians and not throw a temper tantrum on social media and start blocking people. That being said, if there are any lawyers who'd like to have some fun with Thomas Massey, shoot me a DM. But no, Mr. Massey, I don't have the money or the time to sit there and sue you myself because nobody's paying me to ask questions about you. And if and when LFA TV explodes and we're a forum that you're not afraid to come on, you're welcome on the show. I don't care that you blocked me. You're welcome. We can have a conversation. A conversation that apparently Thomas Massey is too afraid to have. What a joke. What a joke. It's just crazy. Mr. Principled, taking the First Amendment rights of mine, ripping it right up. That's all right. It's okay. I'm happy he did it because I documented the whole thing. What happened?
She goes, dang it, why didn't I finish law school?
Yeah, Winky.
Winky,
We could have used you. We could have used you. He said, someone says you can go back to the feed and say, I got paid $0. You see, I would do that, but I can't because he blocked me. Stupid guy. All right, here we go. I wanted to address that because that blew my mind yesterday. Okay, so I'm blocked by Thomas Massey. That's wonderful. It's just, I mean, it doesn't hurt me. If anything, it shows his constituents. If you're in Kentucky, you got to get rid of this guy.
Wanda, that's a good idea. She said, let's blow up his phone today and express our feelings to him.
Yeah, you guys can call him. You could call him. You guys should respectfully call him. Again, I'm not here to... I'm not into violence or sicking the followers on somebody. That's, But I will say that the guy is incredibly thin-skinned and too thin-skinned to be in politics. And there are people who are making it about the DeSantis primary and, 2024's primary is over. I'm not about going back there. But holy moly. Just don't throw a temper tantrum and then block, I mean, that just shows more of I don't usually block people on social media. I try to adhere by that principle. I try to say, you know what? If I disagree with somebody, I may not want to see them. Maybe I'll mute them, but I don't block people unless they're being like vile or if I could tell they're bots, But if they're being vile, if they are making threats to docs, there are some of the Jewanons out there, right? That are like the Jews. Those people I might block after they start getting really vile about it. But a simple disagreement, I wouldn't do it. Not to mention it's apparently against the law. It's unconstitutional to do what he did. But anyway, we're not going to spend the whole show on Thomas Massey. I do want to talk about the Middle East. Before we do that, I want to talk to you about, folks, breaking news. Huge news. The world might be a whirlwind of chaos. But over at OFP Farms, the craziness hits new heights. How could it not with all those goats, right? Remember that one time they said they wound up with way too many goats because...
Oh, yeah, because they broke out and...
One gender of goats broke out to the other gender of goats, and then there were just goats galore, right?
Goats galore.
That's how the craziness hits new heights. Folks, they are throwing a birthday bash for President Trump's birthday. This is crazy. So we had the Father's Day promotion, 20% off. You are not going to want to miss this. If you love your OFP Farms, this is the time to get in. The birthday bash for President Trump beginning today through Sunday, and they are offering not 15% off, not 20% off, not 30% off, 47% off of your entire purchase of in-stock items only, 47% off of your entire purchase with deals this wild. Stuff is going to fly off the shelves, so that's why it's only for what's in stock. Do you not want to? Do you want to miss this? Of course not. You don't want to miss this party. Mark your calendars, gather your friends and family, head over to ofpfarms.com for a weekend of fantastic savings. Remember, deals like these don't come around often. Nobody knows deals like I do. So take advantage while you can. Go to ofpfarms.com. Use the promo code SHAWN for not 15, not 20, not 25, not 30, not 35, not 40, not 45, but 47% off at ofpfarms.com. ofpfarms.com, promo code Sean for 47% off. ofpfarms.com, promo code Sean for 47% off of in-stock items only. In-stock items only. But folks, ofpfarms.com, big-time birthday bash today through Sunday. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Sales like this, seriously, 47% off. It's like half off. Basically, if it's in stock, it's everyone's buy one, get one free, essentially. You're never going to get a better deal than that. Take advantage of it today through Sunday for Donald Trump's birthday. Again, it's ofpfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. What kind of stuff can you get there? You get this amazing soap. It's all stuff you'll use, right? It's great. The magnesium products, if they're still in stock, you can grab them. The Goat Kisses lip balm. Look, if you guys are chapstick diehards like I was back in the day, ditch your chapstick. I call it crapstick. Go Goat Kisses lip balm. It's the best stuff on earth. OFPfarms.com, promo code Sean, SHAWN, for 47% off. Your support of them makes me very happy, makes Brennan very happy, and makes everybody happy. All right, we all win. All right. Let us get to the Middle East, and then we're going to have some fun. There's a video of an LA rioter going around. And Heather from Kansas City is not going to love my commentary on it, but that's okay. It's playful. It'll be okay. Before we get to that, I want to get to this Middle East thing because I don't know the answer here. Oh, that's the wrong banner. I don't know the... Oops, my mind was mush last night when I prepped this. I don't know the answer here with regards to the Middle East. What I know is I don't want war. Okay? None of us want war. I don't think President Trump wants war. I know the folks that are listening to this show across any platform that you're watching it, I know you guys and gals don't want war. I don't want war. I don't like violence. I don't like death. I don't like devastation. I don't like any of that. That being said, are we all in agreement here? And I know that we have been hearing this for decades, that Iran is close to a nuke, Iran is close to a nuke, Iran is close to a nuke. Take that, put it aside, okay? And just can we agree on this, everybody in the chat? I know we have differing opinions. Can we agree that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon? Can we agree that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon? Right? For all of us who don't like war, for all of us who love peace, can we agree that Iran getting a nuclear weapon would undermine peace everywhere? This is a country that, chants with, the death to America and all of that. Can we agree that they shouldn't have a nuke, is my question. Because I think it's more than reasonable to say that Iran, we don't want them having nuclear weapons. Okay, I see a lot of people in the chat saying no nukes for Iran. Definitely, I agree. We can't have an Islamabad in Iran. Yes, no nukes, no more centrifuges, no nukes for Iran. Okay. Good. Thank you. So what do we do about the Middle East? And how do we stop Iran from getting nukes? Donald Trump has been negotiating. Donald Trump has been trying to do this diplomatically. Now we found out yesterday, again, another rumor that Israel may be getting to attack Iran's nuclear sites. Okay? Not exciting news because, of course, that could escalate into something really, really nasty. So here's what Donald Trump said in response to questions last night about the possibility of Iran being attacked by Israel and the whole nuclear situation out there.
Mr. President. President, why are U.S. dependents being authorized to leave the Middle East? Say it. Why are U.S. dependents of military personnel being authorized to leave the Middle East? We'll have to see. Thank you.
He said you'll have to see. Not an in-depth answer. And so I started, publicly pontificating and theorizing yesterday on X about this. And of course, I've admitted on multiple posts, right, that I don't know the answer. So again, I'm literally asking questions here. I don't want war with Iran. I don't. I really want to believe that there's a better way to keep them from getting a nuclear weapon. The question remains, is there a better way for them to get a nuclear weapon? If Israel attacks, I think they've got to do it on their own. There were negotiations set up for this weekend. Those have been canceled. Israel has the right to defend themselves. I'll never take that right away from them or argue to take that right away from them. But is this move defense or offense? I don't know. And I need to reflect on these questions. A lot of people came in and said, I don't want war either, but I hope Israel takes out their nuclear facilities. The problem is, and this is where I'm at, and I'm not saying Israel should or shouldn't, okay? Like I said, I've said this a billion times. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. If Israel attacks Iran's nuclear sites, is Iran going to escalate that into a full-blown conflict? What happens if they do? How much support do we have to then give? Right? I mean, does Israel have what's necessary to defend themselves against all of Iran? Right? Is my question. Plus their terror groups. I don't want the United States to get dragged into a war on behalf of Israel. Okay? I don't. However, the case can be made that Israel would be acting defensively, albeit proactively defensively, right? By taking out Iran's nuclear sites, because Iran has expressed the desire to wipe Israel off the map if they ever got a nuclear weapon. Not just Israel, but obviously other countries as well, including the United States. Israel happens to be in very close proximity to Iran, so it'd be a very bad situation out there. I said the following this morning. I voted for Donald Trump for a lot of reasons. Okay? One of those reasons was his ability to conduct foreign policy and his stances on foreign policy. I truly believe that Donald Trump is a peace president and that he wants peace everywhere. Make no mistake. Iran developing a nuclear weapon would undermine a peace mission in the entire world. We can't have that. We all agreed on that. We can't have Iran with a nuclear weapon. So there are a lot of people who are saying we should do nothing. Right? We should continue to negotiate with people who are not trustworthy. We should do nothing. Some of those folks are like Tucker Carlson and all. I don't know what happened to him. Something happened. Okay? If we do nothing, what happens? Nothing. Right? Nothing. It's very simple. If you want to be, I'm trying to phrase this properly so people don't get all offended, because this is what happens when we talk about the Middle East, which is a whole nother situation. Okay? If we do nothing, then nothing happens, right? If we sit on our hands, then all we're going to be doing is sitting on our hands. If we do nothing, then nothing will stop Iran from attaining a nuclear weapon. Can we agree? What do we do? What is the right answer? The truth is, in this situation, it's extremely complex, and I don't know. But I know this. I voted for Donald Trump because I trust him to handle situations like this. And before anybody, because I've already gotten, you're blindly trusting. You must have missed when I've been literally very critical of some of Donald Trump's decisions, including endorsements. It's not about blindly trusting Donald Trump. It's about admitting that neither you nor I know the perfect way to handle this situation, and we're not in a position to do so. We can theorize, we can speculate, we can discuss, but we don't know the right answer either. That's the president's job. And I trust him to do that job. And I trust him to do that job well. That's why I voted for him. I voted for Donald Trump because in his first term, he kept us out of war. I believe he'll do the same thing here as well. What is the answer in the Middle East? The title of today's show is, What Do We Do About the Middle East? And nobody likes talking about the Middle East, right? It's one of those topics on Twitter, on X. If you post about it, you're goodbye to your reach for 3 days. I'm already suffering that, but that's okay. Their algorithm needs a lot of work, but that's a whole nother story. What do we do? What do we do? And a lot of people don't have the answer. So I think the best thing to do here is prepare for the worst. Obviously, Iran is threatening to attack U.S. military bases. Israel is threatening to attack Iran's nuclear sites. Donald Trump has, and the State Department and the Department of Defense, they're talking about bringing, getting everybody out of Iraq because of how inflamed the situation is. Is it all hype? Is it, what we've seen on several occasions in the past that, they're close to a bomb and we're close to an attack and we're close to war and the Middle East is a powder keg? Or is this the real deal? I don't know. Iranian Defense Minister Aziz Nasserzadeh, that's a mouthful, said Wednesday that Iran will attack American military bases across the Middle East if the U.S. or its allies take military action against Iran's nuclear weapons program. Some officials on the other side threaten conflict if negotiations don't come to fruition. All U.S. bases are within our reach. We have access to them, and without hesitation, we will target all of them in the host countries. God willing, things don't reach that point, and talks will succeed. Nasserzadeh said, if a conflict breaks out, the U.S. would suffer more losses than Iran. He claimed Iran has made significant progress in military technology since its dismal showing in missile attacks against Israel last year, and its armed forces are now fully equipped and ready to handle any adversary, my gosh. The Iranian defense minister was most likely responding to Tuesday's news that General Michael Karoline, the head of U.S. Central Command, briefed Congress on a wide range of options he's presented to President Trump for possible military action against Iran. Quote, President Trump has made it clear that if Iran doesn't permanently give up its nuclear enrichment, military force by the U.S. may be necessary. If the president is directed, is CENTCOM prepared to respond with overwhelming force to prevent a nuclear-armed Iran? House Armed Services Committee Chair Mike Rogers asked Karoline during a hearing on Tuesday. Karoline said, I have provided the Secretary of Defense and the President a wide range of options. Trump said on Tuesday that he was disappointed that Iran was acting much more aggressively in negotiations than it did just days ago. It seems like the situation is unraveling and unraveling quickly. I don't have the answer. I know what I want. And I know what I don't want. I want peace. I don't want there to be war. And I don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't know how we stop them other than force. Because we could be diplomatic. But can we trust them? No. Is force the only option? If it is, how did we get here? We could look back to the previous administration and how much money they gave to Iran. Well, they didn't give money. They just unfroze assets. Same thing. It's a shame. It's a shame that we're in this spot. I mean, because I don't think there's a situation where everyone wins. But one thing is for sure and for certain, Iran has to lose. I'm not saying we have to bomb them. I'm more than willing to let Israel go ahead and do it. But if Iran attacks Israel back, I don't want to be on the ground there fighting their war either. Tough situation. It's a situation that we shouldn't be in, but we are because of inept leadership over the last 4 years. And, they allowed Iran to become emboldened. So we'll see what happens. It's deflating. You can probably hear that. I like, having the answers. It's very deflating to hear these things and to, it's, I don't know. It just sucks. It just sucks. We're going to move off of that and go into some Los Angeles riot situation and some updates because I got a funny video to play. We'll have some fun at their expense. We'll have some fun at... Guess who's back? Back again. Nancy's back. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, Nancy's back. Gotta wipe the spit, right? Say it, doesn't. She can't say that. Say it, don't spray it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, Nancy Pelosi. All right. Folks, new sponsor, brand new sponsor. Let's go. You see there's a war potentially breaking out in Iran. You see there's, all sorts of catastrophes happening across the country. Riots, police cars being lit on fire. Hurricane season began 11 days ago. Not just hurricane season, but summer blackout season. Folks, have you ever noticed how the power always seems to go out whenever you need it the most? Whether it's a heat wave, a summer storm, or just too many people using their air conditioning at once, the fragile grid is having a very hard time keeping up. That is why I want to tell you about the Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator from My Patriot Supply. This thing, folks, is an absolute beast. 3,300 watts of off-grid power that keeps the fridge, the freezer, the lights, even medical devices running when the power grid fails. Right now, there is an amazing deal going on at mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. Take a look right here on your screen. That's the website. I need you guys to go there. Head over to mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. If you get the Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator, you can run it in your home. It's so quiet and safe. You also get 2 waterproof 200-watt solar panels completely free. Totally and completely free. They're not cheap plastic panels either. They're super durable, they're waterproof, and they're built to last through storms, heat, and who knows what else. Military-grade solar panels. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned to get your free solar panels today if you get the Grid Doctor 3300. 33 watts of off-grid power for home essentials. Your fridge, your freezer, your lights, your medical devices. Runs without gas, runs without fumes, runs without noise. And you can go ahead and get it at mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. Get serious about blackout protection at mypatriotsupply.com, mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. That's mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned, mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. You'll thank me when your lights go out and your solar generator kicks on and everything is okay. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. Okay. Please show our sponsors some love. We do appreciate that. I saw Kathy Kramer said, just made my order at OFP Farms. Woo! Thank you, Kathy Kramer, from, I believe, upstate New York. Appreciate you. Thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and do this now. Los Angeles riots. This is some great stuff. Did you see Maxine Waters yesterday? James Brown with a wig, right? You see Maxine Waters yesterday on CNN? I think she actually asked the National Guard to shoot her. I'm not kidding. Watch these. These people are absolutely out of their minds. These Democrats are out of their minds, and they're really upset that they've lost. They're really upset that they've lost the narrative. Everybody support, not everybody, but a majority of Americans support Donald Trump deploying the National Guard. A majority of Americans support mass deportations. A majority of Americans believe that the protesters have been, and I say protesters with air quotes, mostly violent, not mostly peaceful. And yet you have Maxine Waters going on TV, not helping herself. Look at this.
From Donald Trump.
And on Sunday, you went to the Federal Building downtown to check on labor leader David Huerta, who was arrested during immigration protests, and officials slammed the door on you. There was also a moment where you were shouting at guardsmen who were posted outside. I want to play part of this.
What are you going to do? You going to shoot some kid who's afraid of doing what? You going to shoot an elected official? If you shoot me, you better shoot straight.
You then also urged guardsmen not to shoot people, and I know that you are worried about what might happen with armed service members who are armed there on the streets of L.A. Is yelling at them to shoot straight if they're going to shoot you the right way to show that concern?
Well, I don't know, but what I was really trying to do was to get, the attention to the seriousness of what was going on. And so I thought, as an elected official, if I talk about so that it would be in earshot of all the media and everybody else was there and people who were listening, that we were raising concerns about armed guards being in Los Angeles and what they are ordered to do. And so it was one of those moments where, I talked about, I'm an elected official in so many words. Oh, you're going to shoot me too. And so it's one of those things where you're trying to create the proper communication to let everybody know that this is an unusual.
That's enough. That's enough. That's enough for her. That's enough for her. Maxine Waters, telling you going to shoot me? You better shoot straight. Give me a break. Give me a break. By the way, did you see the new ad that the White House put out about the riots? This is a very powerful ad. I would encourage everybody to share this. You can get it over on X. There's ways to download videos off of X. That's how I got this. I would encourage you to share it and save it for 2026, the 2026 midterms. Remember, this is not just a 60-40 issue. This is going to be a much more popular issue on our side of the aisle, a winning issue for us going into 2026 when we talk about these riots that are taking place right now. So here's this ad from the White House yesterday. This was a pretty powerful ad that we should be sharing all over the place, letting our friends know, our fence-sitting friends, independent friends, folks who are not as involved as we are, letting them know if the Democrats take control in 2026 of the House and possibly the Senate, these are the people that you're giving power to.
Fourth day of rallies and protests on the streets of Los Angeles.
It was a peaceful rally. What is going on right now is also peaceful.
Here we are expecting rallies later on.
When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
In Los Angeles, there is a new crowd of protesters that has been building.
CNN had it that these were rallies. Now they've become protests. I'm afraid that by tonight they become riots. If we don't have the ability to stand up and stop this violence before it consumes a great city like Los Angeles, then there's no telling where this could spread.
Powerful ad from the White House. Share that. Give it to your friends. Put it all over your social media. There's nothing incorrect about anything you see there. Just highlighting the fact that the media tried to tell you that the riots were peaceful, that the protests were peaceful. Remember Maxine Waters? There was no violence. There was violence. There was a lot of violence. There's a ton of violence. You just saw video evidence of much of the violence. Donald Trump had to bring the National Guard. And as a matter of fact, he said it on Truth Social this morning. I'll read it to you verbatim. He lit up Gavin Newsom. This was a really awesome post, actually, that he put up this morning. And it highlights what we've been saying. You're ahead of the news cycle and you're ahead of the curve with regards to what the National Guard is allowed to do and what their purpose was in Los Angeles. Let's take a step back and take a trip down memory lane. A couple days ago, when I said the National Guard was being deployed using Title 10, what did I say that their purpose was going to be? Does anybody remember what I said the purpose was going to be? We talked about posse comitatus. We talked about Title 10. We talked about what their restrictions were. What did I say? Do you guys remember in the chat what I said that their purpose would be, why they're being deployed, what their purpose would be? Go ahead.
Because there's riots.
Well, because there's riots, yes, but what is their purpose? That's the reason why they're being deployed. But what role are they serving when they go in there? Speak is saying to protect federal buildings. And yes, but it's a two-pronged answer. They're protecting federal buildings. And what happens when they protect federal buildings, right? That's the second prong. Yes, they're going there to protect federal buildings. That's their job. That's what they're allowed to do under Title 10. But they're protecting federal buildings because why? Because it frees up resources for local and state law enforcement, right? Local and state law enforcement no longer have to protect the federal buildings. So if local and state law enforcement don't have to worry about protecting buildings, they can do what? They can go out and put themselves in a position to start arresting and breaking up the riots. You're ahead of everything, days ahead of everything, when you're watching every morning here at 10 in the morning Eastern Time. Donald Trump this morning said the following: Los Angeles was safe and sound for the last 2 nights. I don't know about that. maybe a little better off. Our great National Guard, with a little help from the Marines, put the Los Angeles police in a position to effectively do their job. You know what? Who said that a couple days ago? Oh, you're right. You're right. I said it a couple days ago. It put the police in a position to do their job. Their police were no longer preoccupied and distracted by defending a courthouse that federal troops and resources could defend. They all worked well together, but without the military, Los Angeles would be a crime scene like we haven't seen in years. Governor Gavin Newsom had totally lost control of the situation. He should be saying thank you for saving his ass instead of trying to justify his mistakes and incompetence. You know, the reason why sometimes we go through boring conversations about the law and we dive deep into what roles the National Guard can play and what their purposes are, and we say things that aren't as sensational as other people because we're not in it for sensationalism, we're in it for the truth, is because several days after the fact, we usually are proven correct. Remember the drones over New Jersey? Remember what we said was the cause of them? Research being done because there was a press release. Nobody wanted to hear the truth. They wanted to believe that there was a nuclear bomb that went missing across the United States. I hate that crap. And that's why we will never be like that here. All right. Let's keep going. I want to go further. Here's Nancy. Here we go. Nancy's back. Nancy Pelosi is back. And she is very upset with the National Guard. Donald Trump deployed the National Guard, but he didn't deploy the National Guard on January 6th. Watch Nancy Pelosi here. This is, if you can stomach her, I'm sorry. Nancy Pelosi talking about Trump and deploying the National Guard to L.A., contradicting with Nancy Pelosi from a couple of years ago. Here we go.
Thank you, Congressman Gomez, for putting this letter together and bringing us together this morning. I listened in traffic. Mind you, for what they had planned for the weekend, they had blocked off a whole lane of traffic. So it took what takes 8 minutes took a half an hour to get here. Happy birthday to you, too. But in any event, thank you. And I could hear by my staff's phone what others have said, and I associate myself with their remarks. Here's the thing. The president has said he can't send in the Guard without the governor's agreement, permission. The president has said, I don't know if I have to obey the Constitution. I hope the president would read Article 10 of the Constitution, and I urge all of you to do that as well, because Section 12046 of Article 10 says that the National Guard cannot be called up by the president without the consent of the governor. So that is the basis under which he's proceeding. That is the basis on which the governor of California is suing. Really, I think it's really important for people to know how this came to be. Raids that they were holding, situations where if your case is not settled, if you're still out there and haven't had a resolution of your status, you have to, by law, report in on a regular basis. You are obeying the law. And now they are deporting people for obeying the law. So as others have said, it's a distraction. It's really stupid because we understand that we are a nation of immigrants. We want people to have a facilitation of their status. We do not want any violent protest, and that would be addressed for those who are acting violently. I do want to say two more things. One is, and I say this as a former party chair, when there is a large gathering of people, the anarchists see it as an opportunity.
And we've played this part. We've played this part yesterday. The anarchists, they were just caught up in the exuberance of the moment. First of all, Nancy Pelosi is wrong about Title 10. I will read this again because she said that the president cannot call up the National Guard without the governor. And I quote from Title 10, whenever the United States or any of the Commonwealths or possessions is invaded or in danger of invasion by a foreign nation, or there is a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States, or the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States, the president may call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute those laws. Thank you, Nancy. You're wrong. The president may call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute those laws. Federal laws were being broken, specifically 18 U.S. Code Section 2101. What law is that? Inciting a riot and rioting. Those laws were being broken. CBP, a federal law enforcement entity, was not able to control it. ICE, a federal law enforcement entity, was not able to control it. The FBI, if they were on scene, on hand, were not able to control it. Section 3 of Title 10, the president is unable with the regular forces, ICE, CBP, FBI, to execute the laws of the United States. 18 U.S. Code Section 2101, rioting. 18 U.S. Code Section 231, civil disorder. He was unable to execute those laws. Therefore, according to Title 10, she wanted to talk about it. According to Title 10, the president may call into federal service members and units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute those laws. I just read off to you 2 laws, and I bet you a whole hell of a lot more of them were broken, that could not be executed because federal law enforcement assets and entities on the ground were overrun and overwhelmed. And that is why Newsom was denied in court for an immediate, an injunction, a temporary restraining order. And that is why he's going to lose in court, because there is precedent for a president to call up the National Guard. Perpich versus the Department of Defense, 1990. Arkansas, 1957. There's plenty of precedent in there. Nancy Pelosi is too busy rubbing her wrists.
There you go. Bad Moon really wants.
She was rubbing the wrists like crazy. And she had the nerve there to compare it to January 6th. Meanwhile, here's Nancy Pelosi on January 6th saying, we failed, like she failed. Look.
We have responsibility, Terry.
We have responsibility,
We did
Terry.
not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
I take responsibility for not having them prepare for more, she says, of the National Guard, but I thought that was Trump's fault. Interesting. All right, I want to get to a fun video, though. We got to get to a fun video. This is good stuff. Okay, are you ready for some? No, we're not going to do fun yet. We're going to do Karoline Leavitt first, then we'll do fun towards the end of the show. Karoline Leavitt gave out some stats yesterday about the raids that are going to continue. You know, Karen Bass was like, you can't do this in a Home Depot parking lot. So if I go to California and I rob a bank, but then I get to the Home Depot parking lot, can I scream, Ollie oxen free and be in a safe zone? I can't be tagged. I can't be arrested. Is Home Depot now a sovereign nation where if you commit a crime, but then go to a Home Depot, you go to a Home Depot parking lot, you can't be arrested? Karen Bass, you can't do this at Home Depot. Oh, really? Why? Arresting people in a parking lot at Home Depot doesn't make our community safer. Yes, it does, especially if they're gangbangers. Absolutely does. So I go rob a bank. I go rob somebody at gunpoint, but I run into a Home Depot parking lot. You can't arrest me. That's what Karen Bass is saying. Karoline Leavitt, the raids are going to continue, by the way. If Karen Bass wants the ICE raids to stop giving ICE a reason to raid places in your community. Hey? Maybe drop the sanctuary city garbage. Karoline Leavitt gave out some stats yesterday that made the left just implode. Take a look.
Let me lie from prison.
I will check with the president. It's certainly an important issue, and I'll get back to you.
Thanks, Caroline. The president said yesterday that paid insurrectionists were behind or involved in the protests in Los Angeles. Does the White House have any more details about who they believe is paying these protesters?
The president spoke about this last night when he returned from Fort Bragg, because frankly the president has a lot of common sense. And if you look at some of the imagery that we have received from the Department of Homeland Security and ICE and law enforcement who are on the ground, you will see boxes and boxes of very professionalized masks and rioting equipment being dropped off for these protesters. So it's a good question the president is raising, and one we are looking into, about who is funding these insurrectionists and these rioters and these protesters and these illegal criminals. And I have updates for you on the numbers, by the way. Since June 6th, there have been 330 illegal aliens that have been arrested as part of these riots in Los Angeles. 113 of those illegal aliens had prior criminal convictions. And overall, and this includes arrests of American citizens, there's been 157 people arrested for assault and obstruction-related charges, including the attempted murder of a police officer with a Molotov cocktail. So.
Interesting. Wow. These peaceful riots, 330 illegals have been arrested as a result of these riots. 113 of them already have prior criminal convictions. They're just here for a better life. Just looking for a better life. We're going to have some fun. Before we have some fun, I want to talk to you about the LFA TV store. Go to lfatv.us. Click on that store tab you see right there on your screen. Scroll down to the right-hand portion. Hit visit the store. It's not too late to take advantage of the spring cleaning sale over at the LFA TV store. 20% off at lfatv.us, lfatv.us, lfatv.us. Lots of great gift ideas for Dad, for Father's Day, or any occasion that's coming up this summer. lfatv.us coffee mugs. Rise Up Coffee. Great gift to pair with the mugs. Look, there's the coffee. We scroll to the top, and there's the mug. What a great 1-2 punch that you see here at the LFA TV store. It's lfatv.us, spring cleaning sale, 20% off. lfatv.us or jeremyherald.com/store. lfatv.us or jeremyherald.com/store. Okay, let's have some fun. Heather Osborne. I'm going to have some fun with her here because of this. Did you guys see this video? FAFO 101, class in session. This is some good stuff right here. You ready? Here we go. Here was a rioter in Los Angeles last night throwing stuff at police officers. And then he turned around and, well, I'll let you watch it. This is good stuff. Boom! Look at that.
You just hit me! I just got hit with the left lethal. Yeah, I'm okay. All right, I got hit with the left lethal. I'm okay. That's what the Kevlar is for. I have Kevlar tights on under my pants, so it didn't penetrate anything.
You ever remember that old bit they used to do on ESPN? Then they stopped doing it because there was there were people like, oh, you're taking pleasure in people getting hurt. It's when ESPN and a lot of sports became soft. Wow, that rioter just got jacked up. That's exactly what just happened here. Jacked up. Remember Jacked Up? I miss Jacked Up. But everyone was like, oh my gosh, but that player got hurt. It's a physical sport. This is, I mean, a picture-perfect tackle. We could let's watch the film again. Look at this. Guy's acting all tough, throws something at a cop, paintballs, boom! I mean, just absolute perfection on this hit. Personal foul, roughing the rioter, 15-yard penalty, Repeat first down. You know what? There would have been a flag thrown if that was Patrick Mahomes. The NFL's probably going to fine that kid. The NFL's going to fine him. Right, Heather? If that was Patrick Mahomes, you know you guys are getting 15 yards, a whole new set of downs. You know, that's the way it goes. He's the new golden boy. It was roughing the Brady. Now it's roughing the Patrick. Same thing. I love Mahomes, actually. I think he's a great player. But that was just, look, New York Jets, Woody Johnson, Aaron Glenn. I don't even know who the GM is now. It doesn't matter. He's going to get fired in 2 years. Sign this guy up. That's a better tackle than I've seen in 3/4 of the NFL. Look at this one more time. This is just great. F-A-F-O, baby. Let's see if we can pause it. Look, he's coming in. Look at that perfect form, guys. Perfect form. Look at this. Jacked up. Look at that. Boom. I mean, he decleated him. Oh, man. If only football was played with that intensity. That was so fun. Come on, guys. Come on. That was a fun one. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. And Gerald is right. There was a gun that flew out of his pocket. Yeah.
Which guy?
The guy who got tackled had a gun. Decleated and disarmed. Sign that kid up. Sign that. Unnecessary roughness. Kid in a white shirt. 15-yard penalty. Repeat first down. He'll take that penalty all day long. I thought that was hilarious. My goodness. Speaking of unnecessary roughness, David Hogg is having a rough time. He's officially out of the DNC. They voted him out. They overturned his election. 2/3 of the DNC voted to overturn his election. And now he's walking away. He quit. He's out of the whole DNC. Poor thing. Poor thing. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you can hit the thumbs up button wherever you're watching today, whether you're on X, whether you're on Rumble, anywhere you're watching, hit the repost button, hit the share button. That was a lot of fun towards the end of the show. Perfect form. That kid had perfect form on the tackle. Decleated him, disarmed him, all in the same hit. It's a beautiful hit. Sign him up, New York Jets. If you're watching, sign him up. Give him a maximum contract. That kid's worth it. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Jeremy Harrell coming up next with Live from America. For the next 2 hours, we're going to go fix some incompetence at Truist Bank because they don't know how to do their jobs. And that's a fun situation that maybe we'll tell you someday when it's resolved. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. As President Trump says, we will never give up. We will never give in. We will never ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I'll be on Newsmax a little later in the afternoon, the 5 o'clock hour Eastern time on Carl Higbee's show. Until tomorrow, have a great day. In the words of John Fetterman, bang gavel. We'll see you tomorrow morning.